Hi, honeybees.
I am glad that you have tuned in with me today. We are getting ready to start our second part of our life skills video on a healthy life balance. Last week we talked about the importance of having a healthy life balance, and some things that come to mind from that video was that we were talking about how important it is to take out time for yourself, how to make time for yourself, how to ensure that, sorry guys, I'm driving and this man in front of me just did not know what he was doing. But anyway, how important it was to take out time for yourself and to be able to recognize when things are becoming stressors to us, or when we're just loading ourselves with too many extra, as I call it, too many extras. So today what we're going to talk about is how do we bring that all together. You know, one of the main things I talked about last week was how important it is for us to plan. You know, in order to get anything done, you really need to plan. Because if you don't plan, you know, things just don't happen. And I am guilty of that myself. But let's talk today about how to get that plan and how to stick to that plan. So two words that really come to mind is consistency and discipline. And I wanted to talk to you all about that today. Consistency and discipline. So what is discipline? You know, when you initially hear that word, we may think of chastisement or some type of correction. But in actuality, the definition of discipline has to do with training yourself to do and teaching yourself to do what is right. And we may not always look at it like that, but that's really what having discipline is. Because not always is someone going to be standing over our head physically disciplining us or verbally disciplining us. That is a individual skill, if you will, or character that we need to find nurturing within ourselves. Because remember I said, you know, having some private time or quiet time, it's not the same for all of us, but it shouldn't be foreign. Well, the same thing for being a disciplined person in life. You know, one of my, I have to say, a life skill that has definitely helped and maintained me is having a sense of discipline. You know, all of us are in different places right now, and all of us need a certain level of discipline at work in our life. And I can tell you one thing: when I left home and I went to college for those 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it was, I had to reach back and I really had to remember why I was at college. You know, I had to dig deep because there were so many distractions, and that's what we're talking about. When you're trying to maintain a healthy life balance, the reason why it's a challenge is because there's so much coming at us. There's so many distractions coming at us on a day-to-day basis that we have to have discipline. Where does discipline come from? It comes from a place of knowing, now if I don't do this, this is not going to get done. It's coming from a place of knowing that if I don't do X, Y, and Z, this is not going to get done. So in knowing that, you know, in knowing that we have to discipline ourselves to be able to get things, as we say, done, or tasks completed, or the next step in our budget plan together, whatever it is, it really takes discipline. And so I want to encourage you on today, where and how do we get this discipline going? Well, last week we talked about making a plan. So there has to be some kind of structure to what you're trying to attempt. What is it that Last week we identified what is the stressor, right? And then once you identify what that stressor is, now what are some things I can do to circumvent this? Or what are some things I can do to eliminate it or lessen it? Because not everything we're going to be able to get rid of. We're just not. That's not life. But there are some things that we can lessen. There are things we can get rid of. But more importantly, how are we going to stay on track towards the goal? The goal is a healthy life balance. So to stay on track with that, we have to have a plan in place. Now, a piece of the plan is discipline. So what does discipline really look like on a day-to-day basis? It is training yourself to do what you know is right to get the desired result. So, if I know that drinking that soda, eating that candy bar, driving through that fast food drive-through is going against the ultimate goal of me being healthy, I have to speak to myself and say, now, I know about this time of day I'm going to be wanting thus and so. What else can I put in place that will help lessen, that will help curb, that will help almost particularly sometimes eliminate me doing that particular thing because it's working against me? What is it? Is it people that you have in your life that's working against you? Once you identify what that is, and I can say this from experience, I had to do this for myself when I was on a really, really focused, and I'll say when, because it's back and forth and it's not as consistent as it should be, but when I was really focused on becoming healthy and maintaining my health, there were some things that I had to do. I had a very sedentary work lifestyle, and so being at a desk, and being on the computer, there was just certain times a day when I would just get really, really hungry, and I knew that. And on top of that, I was managing like food service areas for students that had just junk food that I would go myself personally and purchase and keep stock up. But I had to make a point of making my own lunch and my own snacks. And what that consisted of was stuff that I like that was healthy. You have to find something that you like in order to be disciplined to do it. It's not like it's something that's going to be very enjoyable all the time, but it has to be something you can tolerate. I'll say that. So for me, I made up my own trail mix. I would go get bags of nuts, and I tried to eliminate the candies in it because that was kind of working against it too. So I buy cranberries and a mixed array of nuts, and I had to make sure that I put my own ice, filled up my own water bottle to make sure I had something to drink. Now, I'm not really a water drinker, so I had to use those drinking packs, those flavored water drinking packs. They weren't that great for me, but it helped me get the water down, and it helped me to drop a sufficient amount of weight. So what are you saying? Discipline takes planning, it takes initiative, and it takes actually being true to yourself. So discipline is huge. Now, you can say, okay, today I'm going to do thus and so. And you can say you're doing thus and so. And if you're doing thus and so, that's good, but you can't stop and start. That's where we get into the problem. So the other word to go along with this healthy life balance is consistency. Because while you may say, oh, yep, I drank my water today, but I had a Coke. Oh, yep, I got my snacks on time, but I didn't do thus and so. Whatever it is that you set out to do, you've got to stay consistent with it. Because see, you can be disciplined in certain areas, but not everywhere. So whatever those areas are that you're choosing to move forward in, to be disciplined in, make sure that you are also coupling that with being consistent. It's so easy to fall off the bandwagon. So what is it that I need to do to get back on track? What is that goal? There are some people that make up, they call them picture boards or goal boards, or the name really escapes from me right now, but pretty much like a poster board with a collage of things that you desire in life. There's nothing wrong with desiring things. Matter of fact is that is a piece of us that needs to be cultivated. Do you know you enough to know what you like? I often have shared many times with young people when I am teaching them, about the blessings of and the awesomeness of singleness. A piece of that singleness is understanding what it is you like. It's very easy for us to, I had family and friends that did this. They got married right out of the house, pretty much. I mean, they went from high school to college, from college to a marriage. And there was no time that they really spent by themselves. And that's why last week it's important for you to spend time by yourself, because it's in those times that, not that you're crazy, but you have time to really assess you. Remember, we talked about assessing ourselves, assessing what we like. It's so important, because those are the things that make us who we are. And if you don't take out necessary time and find out exactly what you like, guess what? You become a cookie cutter person. And what I mean by that is you just mimic any of the people that you've spent time with, or you've been around, or that that you're around often, and you have no sense of self, because you're constantly, oh, they like it, so it must be nice. Well, what is it that you like? Have you ever took a risk to see, what about this class, or what about this workshop? There's so much offered now online that it actually blows my mind that I can learn a lot now for free that can better myself. Whether it's learning how to do a new hairstyle, or if it's learning how to really match up my clothes a lot better, or if it's just there's so many things. Learning how to organize my house. I mean, I love the internet to an extent, because, yes, it can be a negative thing, but it's also something that shows and reflects things that I like. It really does. So I want to encourage you on today, and to move forward on this week. Whatever plans you set in place, whatever desires you have, whatever healthy balance looks like for you, pursue it. But in pursuing it, make sure that you put forth the discipline, and along with that discipline, put forth consistency with it. Because I tell you, discipline and consistency, along with a plan, will really, really bless you in so many areas of your life that you won't even realize it. Bless you.